There are some situations that no amount of training can prepare you for. Smoke in the airplane on takeoff is one of those situations. Cathay 811 ran into this situation en route from Boston to Hong Kong, resulting in a Mayday return to Boston. Let's take a look at how the pilots handled this tense situation.
Heavy contact Boston departure.
Contact Boston departure, Cathay 811. Mayday, 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 Cathay 811.
Cathay 811, Boston approach.
Stand by for departure, we got smoke, Cathay 811, Mayday.
Okay, so it doesn't take very long. They're just getting their gear up and they're starting their initial climb out when they get smoke, probably in the cockpit, probably back in the cabin, and they declare a Mayday. There's a little pause in there because the controller on the ground is about to hand them off, and they're doing a double take. They say Mayday. She repeats the call sign and then adds Mayday at the end, which she's going to do now. The FO is going to do for the rest of the flight, reminding them that this is an emergency aircraft. They're going to go through the whole drill here now as they're climbing out. So this is very tense, and there's a lot going on right now up in the cockpit.
Cathay 811, roger, you're right out of contact, same pitch.
Okay, there's this huge long pause, and it's because the captain and the co-pilot are talking about what they want to do, and they've still got to clean up the airplane. They got to get the flaps up. They've got the smoke. They're probably putting their oxygen masks on, and those are a full face oxygen mask, and then you got to figure out how you're going to talk. There's another button you have to push so the mic in that oxygen mask works. So there's a lot going on in a short period of time, and they have to make sure that somebody keeps flying the airplane. It's really easy for both pilots to get busy doing something and lose track of an airplane that nobody's flying yet. All right, so they're going through all that. Here it goes.
Cathay 811, heavy, do you need to return to Boston?
Stand by, Cathay 811, Mayday.
We got a lot going on up here. All right. So they're out of Boston to Hong Kong. They are super heavy because they got a lot of fuel on board. They declare a Mayday because of the smoke, and they're just trying to get caught up with themselves at this moment.
Cathay 811, requesting stop climb 4000. Cathay 811, heavy, approved as requested.
So this is typical. Now the voice changes, right? It's a female voice and a male voice. I'm assuming that the male voice was a captain, not because only men can be captains, but it was typically an FO will be talking. And then when you hear somebody come in like that, it's usually the captain. The captain doesn't have time to relay to the co-pilot to get to the ground controller, to get back to the co-pilot, to back to the it's just like, hold on, I got it. And they just talk because they don't have time to explain.
What's your back? Cathay might be returning due to smoke in the cockpit.
Okay, port 25 is probably the fire trucks. They're probably the fire trucks, and they're starting to line up. Okay, these guys are coming back. Why don't you guys get ready? You might have to meet them.
Once I get that confirmed, I'll let you know.
Control, it's Cathay 811 Mayday. We want a return straight away onto 33 left. Cathay 811 heavy, roger, turn right heading 120, vectors to ILS final.
Now, I have to say, the Australian accent is really cool. You know, it just sounds much more serious. But it's pretty tense up in this cockpit right now.
Cathay 811 heavy, vectors to final, turn right heading 120.
All right, so they're complying.
Taking the radar. Cathay 811 heavy, right turn heading 120. Roger, 120, Cathay 811.
We haven't heard the source of the fire yet. I don't know if they've got it out or where the smoke's coming from.
811 heavy, copy smoke in the cockpit. When able, request tolls on board and fuel remaining in minutes. Souls on board 302 and fuel in minutes. We've got about 15 hours. I'll get back to you on that. That's good enough, thank you.
Yeah, that's a lot of fuel, 15 hours worth of fuel. When I go over to London, I'm carrying about 9 to 10 hours of fuel. 15 is a lot of gas. So why do they ask those two questions? Well, they want to know how many total people are on board so that when the airplane comes in, they can account for everybody. And in addition to that, they want to know for the fire trucks, how much fuel they're talking about. This is a lot. So now the fire chief is going, hey, I need to roll every fire truck I've got, and I need to make sure that they're all loaded up with as much foam as they can possibly get. I might even have to call in a backup from maybe a local municipality that's off the airport.
Cathay 811 Heavy, turn right heading 150. Alright, Cathay 1811 here.
Okay, now they're going to give them the normal vectors to get back.
1933, turn left heading 360, descend and maintain 5,000. Flight delay vectors, you're going to be following an emergency
Yeah,
aircraft.
now he's going to clear everybody else out of the way.
0 down to 5,000, Southwest 1933.
Cathay gets priority.
Cathay 811 Heavy, you're cleared to the Boston Logan Airport via radar vectors heading 150. Could we just start this heading momentarily, Cathay 811? Affirmative, I was just giving you your actual clearance back to Boston.
So here's what's going on in the cockpit from the captain's perspective and the first officer's perspective. They've got a ton of things to get done in a short period of time. Their mindset was we were going to climb out and go to Hong Kong. That all now, they've had to work through denial pretty quickly. They had smoke. They put their oxygen masks on. They're now talking to ATC. They're coming back to the airport. They know they're going to land overweight. They've got to run through emergency checklists, and they've got to get the fire out or the source of the smoke. So it looks like they've probably handled the source of the smoke. Maybe, maybe not. If they haven't, doesn't make any difference. They're still coming back around to land. But now they got to transition to, instead of departing, we're now landing. That's a whole new set of checklists. They have to communicate with the flight attendants in the back. The captain has to communicate with the passengers. Hey, by the way, folks, we're going back to the airport. I don't have time to get into the details of why. Listen to what your flight attendants are going to tell you. Goodbye, right? And now he's coming back. Meanwhile, he's talking to ATC. He also has to get on another radio and call his company, his dispatchers, and say, here's what we're doing. So there's a lot of moving parts all at this moment, and the crew has really got to click. There's got to be great communication between the two of them. And besides that, they have to get this airplane configured, flaps out, landing gear down, to come around and land. Lots going on here.
Yeah, we're too heavy to land in this condition, but it looks like the fire's out. We'll just get back to you, stand by.
Okay, that's good news. The fire is out at least. So they got a little bit of time to breathe, no pun intended, but they do. A little bit of breathing space.
Cathay 811 Heavy, do you want vectors for holding west or east of Boston?
Boston, Cathay 811 will need to dump fuel for return into Boston Airport.
So let me talk you through this process now. If they had still been on fire and they hadn't put the smoke out yet, it wasn't making a difference how heavy they are. They're going to come around and land. They're going to do an overweight landing. But now that the source of the smoke is out, the fire, they have some time that they can, not to kill, but they have some extra time. Now they're going to concentrate on not landing extremely overweight. So they're going to go and dump fuel. Airplanes, commercial jets, can only dump the fuel in the center of the airplane. And so that center tank is full of a lot of gas. It's probably at least a third or more of their overall fuel to get there. So they're going to dump about 6 hours worth of fuel. It's not going to take them that long to dump that fuel, but they got to go climb up above 5,000 feet. They have to go get in a holding altitude. The reason 5,000 feet is important is so that that fuel, when it goes into the atmosphere, can dissipate completely, doesn't ever make it to the earth, all right, and cause extra problems. But it's going to take them a little while to do that. And that's another checklist that they have to get set up and do. So they've asked for holding, and Boston's going to send them out there right now.
Cathay 811 Heavy, roger. Turn left heading 090. You can dump whenever you're ready. Just let me know when that is.
Left heading 090 will carry Cathay 811, Mayday.
Southwest 1933, turn right heading 100, descend and maintain 3,000. You'll be going in first instead.
So meanwhile now, they can get other airplanes into the airport while these guys go out and dump fuel. So that's a little reprieve.
And the traffic looks like they're joining about a 15-mile funnel for 33 left.
Cathay 811 Heavy, are you good at 4,000 or do you want a different altitude?
Requesting 5,000 Cathay 811.
Cathay 811, climb and maintain 5,000.
That's good. They know
Climb
their
maintain
stuff.
5,000, Cathay 811.
Yep.
Southwest 1933, you're going to be able to make the descent to final.
Affirm, Southwest 1933.
Now, Southwest was set up a little bit because they were held out.
55 Roger, and that emergency aircraft is going to be going east a little while to dump some fuel, and then they'll be turning inbound.
So Southwest got a little high on the approach, and that's where the controller calls them up and says, "Are you going to be able to lose out altitude?" Yeah, well, that's fine. Well, they'll lower the gear early, and then maybe they'll take the speed brakes, and they'll come on down. All right, so meanwhile, we're headed out to dump fuel.
Cathay 811 Heavy, turn left heading 360.
Left heading 360, Cathay 811, Mayday.
The process of dumping fuel is really not all that complicated. There's a short checklist that goes with it, but it's only really like 3 items. You want to open up the valve, and the fuel comes out the end of the wings. It comes from the center tank, but it goes out at the end of the wings to get away from the fuselage of the airplane. So you open up the valve at the end, then you arm the system, and basically you just hit dump. And the pump begins to run. It goes out those open valves, and it monitors itself as it's coming out. A screen pops up in front of the pilots that says how much fuel is dumping and the rate of dump, how many thousands of pounds per minute are going. And then it's got an automatic cutoff point. Now you can adjust that automatic cutoff point if you don't want to go all the way to it. You can make it dump a little faster, a little slower. There's ways to adjust it, but that's the basic process of dumping fuel. They're probably going to do that in some sort of holding pattern. And they've got to be above 5,000 feet. There's lots of smoke in this cockpit, and the pilots are probably trying to see which buttons to push next. Hey, you know what? There's some buttons that you could push right now. How about the like button and the subscribe button and the notification bell? If you do, you'll be Captain Steeve's new best friend.
Southwest 1933, turn left heading 360, intercept the localizer.
360 to intercept the localizer, Southwest 1933.
Okay.
Southwest 1933 is a mile from Cohouse, maintain 2,000 till established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 33 left approach.
All right, Southwest is out of the way.
Established, cleared ILS 33 left, Southwest 1932.
Cathay 811 Heavy, turn left heading 270.
Left heading 270, Cathay 811.
So this is kind of a made-up holding
Cathay
pattern.
811, have you started the fuel dumping?
We have started at time 36, Cathay 811, Mayday.
Thank you.
Okay, so they started it a few minutes ago.
Aircraft fuel dumping in progress 20 miles east of Boston at 5,000 by a heavy Airbus headed westbound.
Boston departure, very good evening, 36 Kilo Heavy on Lobster 8 departure, passing 1,400 now.
So here's another airplane taking off now out of the airport. Interestingly, ATC makes a broadcast to everybody out there, and there may be some VFR civilian airplanes just flying around in that area, and he's letting them know if you're below 5,000 feet, you might get rained on, and not in a way that you would like. He lets them know that there's dumping operations going on.
6 Kilo Heavy, Boston departure, Steven, your radar contact, climb and maintain 6,000.
Climb maintain 6,000, 36 Kilo Heavy.
The interesting part about an episode like this is there's an emergency going on, but the airport is still operating. So this air traffic controller is like juggling 3 or 4 balls all at the same time. He does a great job.
Attention all aircraft, fuel dumping in progress 10 miles east of Boston by a heavy Airbus at 5,000.
Repeats it again just in case they didn't hear it the first time.
Cathay 811, turn left heading 090, and about how much longer are you going to be dumping fuel?
Right.
At least another 25 minutes, heading 090, Cathay 811, Mayday.
Roger.
It takes a while to dump that much fuel. You can see there it's about 35, maybe 40 minutes altogether. So we're going to fast forward here for you a little bit until these guys get done dumping fuel.
Cathay 811, request heading 180.
Okay, they're all done now.
Cathay 811, turn left heading 180.
Left heading 180, Cathay 811, Mayday, thanks.
They've also had a little time now to get caught up with the airplane, make all their communications, prep the passengers, prep the flight
Cathay
attendants.
811, request descent 4,000.
Cathay 811, descend and maintain 4,000. Are you done with the fuel dumping?
Another 2 minutes for the fuel and clear descent 4,000, Cathay 811, Mayday.
Okay, so they're cheating a little bit. They
Attention all
should be above
aircraft, fuel
5,
dumping in
but
progress 25 miles east-southeast of Boston at 5,000, descending to
there's no
4,000,
fuel
heavy
dump
Airbus
police out
southbound.
there. All right, here they come. They get set up for the approach. They've worked through all their checklists now.
Cathay 811, ready for the approach, ILS 33 left. Mayday.
Cathay 811 Heavy, roger, turn right heading 280.
Right heading 280, Cathay 811.
Now, this whole evolution is going to take them in real time, about 40 to 45 minutes from the time they declared the emergency of the fuel dump to come back around. We've sped it up here a little bit for you, but it's a lot. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that they have to do in that short period of time. And these two are professionals. They handle it really well. ATC is on top of their game, too.
Cathay 811 Heavy, I understand you've done fuel dumping. How much fuel do you have left remaining minutes now?
We got 47.7 tons now in tank, Cathay 811.
Okay, so now the foreign carriers report their fuel in tons. So they're letting them know how many they have in tons. They have to do the math, of course. But that's also for the fire trucks to know how much fuel potentially is on this airplane in case there's another accident involving the fuel. There won't be, hopefully, with this one. But they need to know that for their preparation.
Attention all aircraft, fuel dumping east of Boston is terminated.
All right.
Cathay 811 Heavy is 8 miles from Ben, turn right heading 300, maintain 4,000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 33 left approach.
Ben is an intersection that's known as the initial approach fix for that approach to runway 33 left. So they're cleared to this point in space. They've already got that dialed in. They're going to go straight there. Then they're going to intercept the glide slope and the glide path and the glide slope as they come down on an instrument approach into Boston.
Right heading 300, maintain 4,000, and at 4,000 intercept the localizer, clear for the ILS runway 33 left, Cathay 811 Mayday.
She's very good. Mayday every time.
Wind check.
Okay, now a wind check is, you don't have to tell them who you are. Just say wind check, and the person in the tower or whoever's listening to you should give you the winds for that runway, the active runway at the airport. Sometimes they don't hear it quite right, but if I ever just key the mic and say wind check, I'll usually say here, winds are 230 at 10, gusting to 15, and then they'll repeat the runway. This one gets
Cathay
lost.
811, request wind check.
Wind check, twice.
Winds at Boston 330 at 18, gust 28.
There you go.
Thank you, Cathay 811.
Cathay 811, no problem.
Cathay 811, establish on the ILS 33 left.
Okay.
Cathay 811 Heavy, thank you. Contact Tower 134.05.
This will be their last
134.05,
frequency
Cathay
change.
811 Mayday.
Thanks for your help, sir.
They've got the approach and the runway. It's all theirs.
Cathay 811 Heavy, Boston Tower, runway 33 left, cleared to land.
And they end up having an uneventful landing. They taxi off to their gate and get their problem looked at. But all in all, a really, really professional job by Cathay and the air traffic controller, with a curveball thrown in, which is they're super heavy and they have to go dump fuel. The dumping fuel gave them time to get caught up with themselves, do all the checklists, make all the communication. And most importantly, from my perspective as a captain, I've got two important communications I have to do. One is the passengers. That's number one on my list. And number two, the flight attendants. They need to know what to expect. Are we going back to the airport? Are we going to do an evacuation? What is the problem here? Did we get the fire out? If there's smoke in the cockpit, there's probably smoke in the back. People are very concerned. Maybe the masks came down. There may be people panicking. You don't know. So part of the job of the captain is to reassure people. Not unrealistically so, but I don't need to spool things up back there either. So I'm going to key the mic and say, hey, folks, it's me, the captain. Here's what's going on. Let me know. I'll let you know what our intentions are. We're going to turn back to the airport. Clearly, we're going to be kind of busy up here. I'll give you an update as I can before we land. But right now, here's what our intentions are. Please follow the instructions of your flight attendants. That's going to calm everybody down. They really want to hear from the captain. I'm going to chime in with them as we turn final and say, hey, folks, we're all set. We're going to land back at Boston. And once we get on the ground, I'll let you know what's going to happen next. All of that's important communication. This one turned out really well. Now you know. I'm Captain Steeve. Fly safe.